So now I'm just going to go through some of your questions that you've asked in the comments. I just printed a couple out. By the way guys, look at the state of my key fob. In an upcoming video soon, I'm going to show you how to change these buttons. So the first question from a guy called Walter Carter. Do you know how to turn off the screen for night driving? How do you turn the screen off and record? And Alex Fidanki, can't I still record without the video actually being shown on the mirror? Yep. If I turn the car on, there's two ways. If yours doesn't automatically turn off, the first thing you can do, as I just shown you, just press the power button and it's gone instantly. But it's better if you can have it set that it'll turn itself off. If you watch mine, will turn itself off, as I've just gone through in the menu. If you go through the menu and set it to turn the screen off. See, the screen turns off and it is still recording. If I press the power button, you can see it's still recording. I've just gone through the menu, but I'll just show you quick what you want to do. Stop it recording. Press this menu button here. Go down to LCD brightness and choose how long you want it to stay on for. 10, 20 or 30 seconds. If you choose off, it'll always stay on. If you want it to turn off after 10 seconds, set 10, 20 and 30. Okay, this is from a guy called Gerald Holden. How do you change my on-screen info? Mine is in Chinese, please help. I've had a few people say this got it stuck in Chinese and they don't know how to get it back. So what you want to do is turn the screen on if it's not already on. If it's recording, press OK to stop it recording. Go to the menu. And obviously you can't read that, so you don't know which is which. But what you've got to do, you've got to go down till you see this A symbol. So it's like an A. That is your language. Press OK, and then go down to English. So English, and voila. Okay. Okay, someone else asks, hi there, how to activate the infrared uncrossing the eye symbol in the display? And someone else also asked, I want to also activate the night vision. Well, mine hasn't got night vision, so I can't actually help you, but another poster wrote in the comments, just turn it on. That this DWR is a night vision option. It doesn't do anything on mine, so I don't know if it's correct or not, but I've been told that it's for the night vision. And the other guy asked, the eye symbol, how do you uncross that for the night vision? Well, that eye vision is not for the night vision. The eye, I should say, is not for the night vision. That is actually your parking guard symbol. If I take the parking guard, turn it off, look, it's crossed through. And if I take the parking guard, it's uncrossed. Your parking guard is for protecting files while it's parked. Got nothing to do with your night vision, or at least not on mine. So DWR, other than that, I don't know, mate. Another guy says this doesn't stay charged. It powers off when he turns the car off. Another guy said the same when he pulls his USB cable out, or when he turns the car off, it turns off because his battery doesn't stay charged. Well, it's supposed to do that, mate. It's not actually faulty. If you turn it off, I've just turned my car off. It turns off. It's not faulty if you unplug the USB cord and it turns off, or you turn the car off and it turns off. That's what it's made to do. The battery's not faulty. I mean, the battery could still be faulty, but even if the battery was fully charged, if you unplug the USB cord when you've got it plugged into the computer, or you unplug the power, it will turn off, because that's what it's designed to do. It thinks you've turned the car off, and it's made to turn off when you turn the car off. It's not made to keep recording when the car's turned off. And if it did, the battery would only last a few minutes before it was completely dead anyway, and then it wouldn't be able to record any of the parking guard files. And if it got knocked while it's in a car park, that's what the battery is made for. The battery's made for this. I'm in a car park, for example, someone hits my car while it's parked up, I'm in the supermarket, someone hits my car, obviously I've hit it a few times there just to make sure it does it, but someone reverses into my car, they drive off, and unless they're at the side, if they're at the front or rear, I might get lucky and get their number plate, and I can get them if they drive off. That is what the battery's for. It's not made for constant recording like a CCTV, but that's what the battery's for. It is meant to turn off when you turn the car off. So what else have we got? Well, one guy wrote, I'm thinking about buying one of these, but he's got Bluetooth in his mirror. And he asked, will they affect the Bluetooth in his mirror? Depends what you mean by effect. I don't think it'll block the signal, so honestly, and this is just my opinion, I'm completely guessing, I don't think it'll affect the Bluetooth signal at all. But I'm only guessing, so what I say isn't gospel. The other thing to notice, if you've got a mirror with Bluetooth, quite often you've got buttons on your mirror as well, and like this has got buttons here, so your mirror might have buttons on it, and this hangs down, and it might actually block your access to the buttons. So all I can do really is just show you what it looks like, and for you to make your own decision whether it'd block your buttons or not. But in terms of signal, it shouldn't block the signal. Another guy wrote, don't buy it, you can't even see out of the rear view mirror dash cam. Well, I'll just point it to the mirror and you tell me if you can see out of the bike. Looks pretty clear to me. Now what he might be saying is, if he's driving along with the screen on, I mean it looks clear on camera, but if you've got the screen on, your eyes focus on the screen, especially if you're driving at night. Basically, even if you're driving in the day, you've got to set it so the screen automatically turns off. If you're driving with the screen on, like now, I could use it with the screen on, I can still see behind me, I can still see the reflection, but it is distracting, your eyes want to focus on that. Can't recommend enough that you turn the screen to automatically turn off. And when I turn the car off, it'll turn off anyway. But he's saying you can't even see out of the mirror. The mirror's pretty clear. Now I was concerned when I installed it how dark it looks and how blue it looks. To be honest now, I don't even notice it anymore. It's just like any other mirror. In fact, it's bigger than my standard mirror. So the view is fine. It seems a little darker at night. The reason it's dark and the reason it's blue is for, you know, if you've got someone driving behind you and they've got really strong lights or they've got a high beam on, what you'd normally do on a manual one like that anyway, unless it's electronic, you'd angle your mirror down so you can still see behind you on those types of mirrors, but without getting dazzled. Well, the trouble with doing this, if you do that, your camera's now pointing at the sky, or it's pointing a lot higher rather than the road. So what they've done, they've made this mirror this dark blue sort of thing, so it doesn't dazzle you very much when the car behind you is dazzling you with his high beam headlights on. So that's to try and compensate for that. Some mirrors have the electronic dimming, this doesn't. Remember, it's only a cheap £30. They might make some in the future with electronic dimming, that'd be good. But you can see it perfectly fine, as you can see for yourself. So this next question is the most common question I've had. Nathaniel, he wrote, thanks for sharing this video. I have a question. I bought the same type of dash cam, but I've noticed that the backup camera comes with only one red wire for the reverse light connection. Do you think it'll still work? Another guy, Corres, wrote, I have the exact same dash cam mirror, but it came with a different reverse camera that has only one red wire. Should I just plug this red wire into the positive side of the reverse light and it's done? So what they're talking about is, if you remember from my installation video, I wired it into the reverse camera, so when you put the car in reverse, as I've just done now, the screen will turn and display the rear camera view. I don't use it much, but, well, I don't use it at all to be honest, but as soon as I could wire it in, I did. And if you take it back out of reverse, it goes back to normal, and then after a few seconds, the screen will automatically turn off as though you're driving. If you put it back in reverse, it'll go to the rear view again. Now what they're talking about is, when I wired mine in, I got one red and one black wire that I had to wire into the reverse light in order to switch the camera, to tell it to switch over to that view. Well, their rear camera's only got one red wire, and they're asking if I just connect that one red wire to the live of the reversing circuit, will it still work? And to be honest, I didn't know. I was guessing that it did. I mean, if it's wired like that, it's going to be like that, and it's going to work, isn't it? That's what it's made to do. So I just assumed that the red wire was like a trigger wire and it was getting its feed from there, and it was going to get the negative from the main wire that goes all the way to the back of the car and still work. And I was guessing it worked, and I was telling people it should work, it's wired that way, but I didn't know for 100% sure. I was asking people if they did wire it in, then to get back to me just to confirm. And then a couple of months later, a guy called Ryan M, he basically confirmed it worked. He wrote that he bought one from eBay that had just one red wire, and he wired it into his Verslar and it works. So yes, if your rear camera's only got one red wire sticking out in it, it will still work if you plug it in for it to do that. So thank you to Ryan M there for confirming that if you've just got one red wire on your rear camera, it will still work. So one guy wrote, "Hi there from Spain, my friend. This video is so useful. Thanks very much, mate. One question though, do you have any idea of how to change the boot logo on this mirror? My car is a Honda and it would be nice to show the big H logo when it initiates. Thank you so much in advance." What it's talking about is when you switch it on. You see how I get that car? He wants to know if you could change that boot logo. To be honest, mate, no, there's no option where you can change that. It'd be great if you could just put a picture on your memory card and change that. I know it would be good. Like if you got Honda, for the Honda symbol to come up, or Vauxhall, this is a Vauxhall. That would be cool, but no, mate, there's no way that I'm aware that you can change that. One guy wrote, "I've got the word airbag on my trim, should I be worried?" Now I've got airbags on this, but you don't have to take all this out. So what I assume he's talking about is talking about this trim here. Yeah, mate, I mean, it can be dangerous working with airbags. I'm not a mechanic, so I'm not really going to tell you how to do it. But the first thing I know is, if you're working with airbags, or really if you're working with anything, but if you're working with airbags, first thing you got to do is disconnect your battery, just to stop it, any chance of it firing off in your face, because they are explosive and they can be quite dangerous. So if you're taking it off, it's got airbags in, first thing you got to do is disconnect your battery. But I wouldn't even recommend you do that. The first thing I recommend you do is go and get the Haynes manual or some other car manual that shows you how to disassemble it, or even go and talk to a mechanic, because you don't want that firing off in your face. But if you are going to do it yourself, one, get the manual, and then two, make sure you disconnect the battery and do it at your own risk. So one guy asked, what is the megapixel of the front and rear camera? It doesn't actually tell you the megapixel, it just says 1080p. If you go in the settings, the maximum megapixel for photo is 3 million, so it's not going to be higher quality than that. But the resolution just for the cameras just says 1080p, and I believe the rear is 720. But they're not massively high quality anyway. I did make a sample footage video here if you want to check that out, so you can see what quality the video is when driving and judge for yourself. But the number of megapixel, I don't know. How does the recording work? Like, is how many minutes can the video record in the internal memory, and once put in the SD card, how many mins does it record constantly? I haven't got any internal memory, so you need an SD card. If you haven't got an SD card in, you won't be recording anything. I've got a 16 gig memory card in mine. That's just a card that came with it. It can take up to 32. And I think mine records in total about an hour and a half. An hour and a half front, an hour and a half rear before it totally fills up the card. That's how it works out, I think, with 300 meg file size of 3 minutes. About 100 meg a minute, I think. So if you put a 32 card in, you should get about 3 hours. But these are rough. I've never worked it out exactly, but I think I get about an hour and a half for my 16 gig. And also he wrote, does the recording create different thumbnails every time the camera is on, or just overwrites the old file? And when does the recording overwrite the old file? What I think it means is, thumbnails on the computer, it just uses a frame from each video. This doesn't create thumbnails. And it overwrites starting from the oldest file. So if you've got file 1 to 100, just for ease of numbers, when it finishes recording file 100 or video 100, then it will start overwriting video 1, and then video 2, and then video 3, and so on. It will overwrite the oldest non-protected files. It'll never overwrite the protected files. Speaking of protected files, one guy asked, how do I delete protected files? Obviously, if his memory card is getting full of protected files, there's no way on this that you can delete individual protected files. Well, none that I've found anyway. I'm talking about individual protected files. I think I've got one. If I can find a protected file. So that's protected file from when I banged on the window earlier. That's the rear, that's the front. Press menu, delete current, erase this, lock. See, it doesn't allow me to delete protected files. It won't overwrite them, and it won't allow you to delete them either. So what do? Well, you can actually delete them. What you've got to do, you go to the menu, to get to the menu, we've got to go to the main screen and the menu. The only way to delete them is to delete everything by formatting your memory card, which is shown earlier in the menu. Format your memory card, OK, and you'll delete everything on your memory card. And finally, ti falta grabare reversa, conducir hacia atrás, buenos videos. What he's saying is, when I made my sample footage video, he says I didn't show what it looked like when I was driving backwards, basically. I showed footage driving forwards from the front camera and rear camera, but this guy wants to see what it looks like when I'm driving backwards. Well, it looks exactly the same, mate, but I'll record a little bit just for you, and here it is. So thanks for watching, guys. This is just a bit of a ramble video, to be honest. Might be quite long. I thought it was only going to be a few minutes, but it turned out quite longer. But I hope it's helped you. And you see what it's like after a year use, year and a quarter. It is cheap, but mine's still working, which is a positive. Obviously, when they're cheap as this, you don't know if they're only going to last 2 minutes or not. If it did last only 2 minutes, a couple of weeks, then it'd be crap. But it's lasted a year and a quarter, and that's all right up to now. The battery's crap, but it is still working just fine. The battery, when you've been driving, has got enough power in it to power up to record a bump like when you're in a car park, so it's still working. And the rest of it is recording faultless, to be honest. I just get in the car, switch the car on, it's already turned on. I just turn the car on and go. Start driving and forget about it. I don't have to do anything to it, it's ideal, and hopefully I never have to use it anyway, because you've only got there for security if you have a bump. And I think this being in a mirror is absolutely ideal. You can get other dash cams, but they're really expensive where you can fit them in the corner permanently. I think they're a good idea as well, because any dash cam that's a bit like a sat-nav where you have to stick it to your screen, you could leave it there all the time at a risk of it getting pinched, if someone broke in and pinched it. But if you're going to have a dash cam that you stick on and take off every time, let's be honest, most of us are never going to do that. You're either going to leave it on your screen all the time, and there's a chance of it getting pinched, or you're going to take it off, put it in your glove compartment, and eventually, especially if you're only driving to the supermarket a minute drive away, you're not going to get the dash cam out every time, and that could be the time you have an accident. So it's best that you get one that you can leave stuck to the screen all the time, such as this one, or the ones that do stick in the screen. But this mirror one is absolutely ideal, and it's brilliant that you've got a rear camera in as well, and everything is still working. So after a year and a quarter, would I still recommend this? Yes, I would. For £30, remember that it's really cheap for this. It's cheap tack, but it's still working, and that's what's important. A lot of people have complained to me when they bought one, or just tried venting to me that theirs don't work. It's cheap, I'm not excusing it. If it doesn't work, send it back. Even if it's cheap, it should work. If they're breaking, then that's crap. All I can say is, mine's worked, and that's all I can say. I don't sell these, I don't make these, I just bought one and mine's worked. I've seen other mirrors like this, far more expensive, which I did consider, but they didn't come with a rear camera, and that's the deal breaker. I'd rather buy a cheap one with a rear camera than a real expensive one that doesn't have a rear camera. Anyway, guys, this was a quick ramble, but I hope it's been some use to you, year and a quarter on. I know a lot of people actually found my fitting videos quite helpful, so that's cool for that. And I'll see you next time. By the way, it's a nice view, isn't it?